Hello, everyone. Today we're going to address a heavy topic. This is the one that irritates us the most and that we struggle with the most with hearing loss, and that is communication. Just know that right off the bat and coming out of the barn, communication is the most difficult thing we do as human beings to begin with. So then you throw in hearing loss into the mix, and it just becomes very frustrating. And it can be very depressing for some. So let's get to it and talk about some things you can do to improve communication with others, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a neighbor at work, whatever it might be. So one of the videos that I'll post at the end has to do with sound. But to understand what I'm saying in this video, it'll be important for you to watch that video as well. So let me get to communication, and then I'll post the video on sound so you can put those two together and you'll understand what I'm talking about here. So communication, there's a few things that you can do to improve the communication with others. It'll take time. It's frustrating because you have to kind of train others to follow those instructions. And you'll be talking about your needs. So, and you'll have to speak up. So, and you'll have to do it more than once for sure. So, one of the things that you don't want to see happen over and over is for someone to talk to you from another room, which can happen a lot among couples. So you'll have to say, I have a need and to hear you, and what you have to say is important to me. So if you could speak to me in the same room and facing me, that would be awesome. Now, one of the reasons why in the dynamic of sound, that you need sound to come to you. So if they turn away or they're in another room, there's going to be an issue of you understanding the complete sentence or even a word. So facing you is going to be important for that person not to be at a far distance from you, and for them certainly not to be in a different room. When the person keeps on doing that over and over, you might have to do some things to kind of convince them that it is the best for them to talk to you in the same room. And one of the things is not to respond. Keep on doing your daily things. And when they realize, oh, yeah, that's right, I have to talk to him or her in the same room. So you'll have to say this over and over to your friends or your coworkers or your partner, your spouse. Please talk to me face to face. Please talk to me in the same room, and not to yell because yelling will distort the sound. It'll break it up, and then you'll only hear a word here or there. Some things that happen is that the spouse will be rattling some pens or washing their hands, and that will disrupt the sound as well. So remind them to please, not to be making other noises when they speak to you, okay? So no washing their hands or rattling pens or paper or doing something else, just to focus on the conversation, which is what we should do anyway in daily life. So we should be paying attention to the person who's in front of us and not to all this other distractions that we have in our world. Also, when they have the TV on, they try to talk to you, it probably won't work either. So they can mute the TV. They'll have to learn maybe how to mute it, but that is also a possibility. Mute it and then have the conversation. So that happens a lot in families, that they want to talk to you, the TV is going and the baby is crying and whatever's going on, and the message just goes right over you. So let them know that talking to you in the quiet will be really, really important. So face to face, no other distractions. And you'll have to say this over and over until they start getting it. In the meantime, it'll be important for you not to get stressed, not to get angry. Just relax. Just relax and don't, don't work too hard. They have to put in their part and you have to put in yours to not get stressed. Just keep on watching TV. Just, you're hearing a noise other than the TV. People are talking to you. Just keep on watching until they say, oh, yeah, I need to mute the TV to talk to him or her. So they'll get it eventually. Trust me. If they want to talk to you, they're going to have to follow these steps. So, and sometimes it'll take time to train them. Sit, stay. So, and give them a treat when they follow the directions. Bring them an Oreo cookie. So, anyhow, I know it's not funny in the moment because people get frustrated, you get frustrated, but yeah, just speak up for your needs at home. That's the first place. And if you live alone and people just can't get a hold of you because the doorbell is, you just don't hear it anymore, there are some, and I will have to do another video on that because that's a little bit longer of a video. But if you watch the video on clocks, that has some tips. But for signalers for the home, I'll have to make another video because there's a whole setup that needs to happen and things you need to keep in mind. So, ouch, I just bumped my hand. Anyway. So if you live alone, that's a whole different animal, and I'll work on another video on that. But first, communication. So you got the tips on communication at home. So let's talk about work. It'll be important for you probably at some point to talk to your boss. And sometimes we tend to try to hide our hearing loss at work or to ignore it and say, oh, it's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. And that happened to me when I was working out in the field as a social worker, and it didn't work. I was losing my hearing, but I was the last one to know. So my coworker really invited me to go get my hearing checked because she had known me for years, and something was wrong, something was off, and I didn't get it. I knew people were getting annoyed with me because they kept on having to repeat, and I thought, why is everybody mumbling? But the key statement there is, why is everybody mumbling? Everybody can't be mumbling. It doesn't work that way. So my coworker did call me in, and she said, it'd be good for you to go to get your hearing checked. Something is off. So I said, oh, yeah, I will. And I ignored it, and I kept on doing what I was doing, and it just wasn't working. So at one point, I paid a high price for it because I was coming back from an errand. I was the first person in the line of traffic. The light turned red, and I stopped. Then the light turned green, and I went. Normal. And nobody else did. Everybody stayed where they were. And I thought, what is going on? So I looked to make sure that it was really green. It was. But I had an emergency ambulance coming right on top of me on my left side. So I just veered as hard as I could to my right. And I went right into a gas station, and I slammed on my brakes. And the ambulance just screeched by me. We almost collided. And I just kind of thought, I was angry at first, like, what is wrong with this ambulance? Why didn't they have their sirens on? What is going through their heads? And so I rolled down the window, and I realized I wasn't hearing anything. I had completely lost my hearing. So I just it was very scary. I just kind of burst out crying, and I was shaking. So, then I remembered Gloria, my coworker, when she said, go get your hearing checked. So, so I finally did, and then the rest is history. But someday my story is in there, so I won't repeat it here. But your work, it's good to be honest and say, yes, I have some hearing loss, and this is what's going to help me. For someone to come into my cubicle or right into my office to talk to me directly, to face me when you're speaking, and, just odds and ends, that's going to help you at work. If the phones are causing you issues, then request an amplified phone or a caption phone and see if they can hook up the caption phone. One that might work for your job, because it does adapt to extensions, is what's it called? Caption call. So that might be a phone that'll work at your job if you use extensions and you have a setup for your phone system. So not all caption phones work with extensions. So that's a little tidbit. But, talk to your boss, start feeling comfortable with saying, yes, I have hearing loss, and this is what's going to work. So you'll have to advocate for yourself. The same thing at home. You'll have to repeat yourself at work a little bit here and there, and there might be a coworker who's going to be teasing you or just being rude, so you have to be patient with that. And just be talking to your supervisor on how to solve that if that comes up. Let's see, what else? In your own environment, when you're driving, and this is really important, when you're driving and you are alone, make sure you have the radio off so that you're paying attention visually to what's going on behind you. If you see cars pulling over to the side, you got to pay attention because an ambulance or a fire truck might be coming. So that's what signals me that I need to pay attention and pull over as well with everybody else. So you got to be a little bit extra alert when you're driving. So when you're with other people, just let them know, I need the car to be, not too noisy so I can hear if a siren or an ambulance or whatever's going on. So when you are by yourself, especially, and doing errands and driving, you got to be attentive to your surroundings, okay? So make sure that you use those eyeballs and make sure that you are safe and that you're doing, what you need to do. Don't worry about the overhead speakers in a store. They usually don't say anything important. So just focus on your task. A lot of times stores are very noisy, so you just ask the cashier to speak up because you're hearing impaired. So they might ask, did you find everything okay today? Or can we help you with your groceries? Or, those kind of things. So usually they say the same things over and over when they're serving you. So those are some tips. Restaurants are a little bit more complicated. There are some tools that you can use, and again, I'll have to talk about that in another video because it is pretty long. But if you're in a restaurant, you just ask for the quietest spot that they have. And if you're using hearing aids, make sure that there are some programs that you can use with your hearing aids. If you use cochlear implants, that's a whole different story. But we'll get to those. But make sure you ask for the quietest spot, or to go to the restaurant when it's less noisy. Go at off times. Go to restaurants that have a lower ceiling and have carpeting. So even the construction and the space does matter. So you have to be picking and choosing what restaurant or, eatery you go to. So I'll leave these tips. So just speak in the same room with no noise, face to face, at a short distance. because the farther away you are from the other person, the less you're going to hear. When you're watching TV, for them to mute the TV and for people to talk one person at a time. And that'll be, and it's a matter for you to figure out if at work you're able to talk to your boss and see what can be worked out for people to speak to you face to face and not at a distance or from another room. For phones at your job, Caption Call might be able to assist you because their phones do work with extensions. So see if you can contact them and see if they can help you with that. It won't cost anything, so so check and see if you can connect with your boss before you do that swap out of phones. Let's see, what else? When driving, make sure you have the radio off or at a very low volume. And make sure you're able to hear ambulances and fire trucks when they're coming around. At the stores, when you're out on the sidewalks, make sure you're just very aware of your environment. And that's all I had today. And we will meet again to talk about more technology that could help you at home and at work. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lisa, and this is Hearing Loss Pathfinder. We will be talking all about hearing loss and methods and technology you can use to help your process of communicating with others and surviving hearing loss in many different ways. I'm going to quote today a hero of mine, Helen Keller. I don't know if you've heard of her, but watch the movie, The Miracle Worker. It is a really great movie, whether it's the new one or the old one. But her famous statement was, so blindness separates you from objects, but hearing loss separates you from people. So just remember that we all have our work cut out for us to make sure we keep our relationships going. And there are lots of things we can do. So you might be frustrated right now with your hearing loss, but with the tidbits here on our channel, things hopefully will get better for you. If there is a video that you liked, feel free to smash that like button. That helps me know that I'm going in the right direction. The topics are helpful. If you feel like this channel is going to be a support to you and helpful to you, feel free to subscribe. Subscribing on YouTube is completely free. All that will happen with the subscription is that it will alert you of my next videos. So welcome again, and hope to see you in the next one.